steering column, booster. Let's go.
It's gonna mess everything up.
Oh my God! I can't work for a guy like that.
LED taillight game. So that's the LED, and that's what the bulb used to be like.
So we partnered with eBay Motors for this project to buy a car and all of the parts off of eBay Motors.
I'm not saying we're gonna build a 10-second Donk, but we should try.
Jamo. Here.
More wires?
No, it's not wires. Open it. It doesn't sound like wires, does it? Crank trigger.
Crank trigger.
That's not wiring, that's mechanical stuff.
That's mechanical stuff.
You're mechanicking right now.
All right, let's do this then.
By the way, you wondering why that's here?
What do you want me to check with that? It's a dial indicator.
The guys at Blueprint Engine called and they said, hey man, we saw you idiots drop the motor. And you should really check the end play. So, but yeah, before you get that on, let's check the end play. You don't even know which way that goes on. That's definitely not how you do that.
No.
All right, so we got it all set up, right? So the whole point of this is to check how much this crank moves this way, in and out. Yes, because there's thrust washers inside there. So if it took a really bad jolt, it might have dented the washer and then makes the play more than it should be. Because this thing doesn't have a flywheel in it, I'm gonna pry with a pry bar back and forth to check that play and while Jamo measures. You ready, Jamo?
Yes.
Jose?
Jose?
You cameraman?
Push it forward or backward? You're gonna push it backwards.
So I'm gonna pull it?
You're gonna pull it.
Ready?
Yes. Ah, good. Give me that again.
Hold on, I'll push it forward again.
Can you push it forward?
Yeah.
0.
Is you at 0?
I'm at 0.
I'm gonna pull it one more time, we'll double check again.
Looks good. It's
we're good?
within their specs.
We don't have to put another motor in it?
No, it's good.
Alright, so Blueprint, we're good.
There you have it. Crank trigger installed. This got to be adjusted later on. The clearance between the sensor and one of the teeth. We got some adjusters here. Left them a little footnote to torque the bolts.
We can't get rid of this seat. It's comfortable.
So many childhoods spent in that seat.
Oh yeah, you can sleep here.
You, your G.I. Joes.
What the hell? What's the plan for the week? What are you guys talking about?
This is my
We're trying to actually figure out what to do. We don't have any parts, so trying to figure out what else needs to get done. Because what are we still waiting on?
Rear suspension.
All our brake kit.
Fuel lines, top hat, all the tiny things. Since we already have the parachute, why don't we just go ahead and make the roll bar?
I mean, we need to do the roll bar before we get the interior made.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can see, like, we have to figure out what we're going to have to cut around and not clean all that stuff up. But we definitely want to do a roll bar that's like a bolt in, so we can still use the back seat.
Yeah.
Gotta have the back seat.
That looks...
I mean, roll bar is like track day thing, just something to hold. I mean, really just to hold a harness bar, and God forbid we roll this thing. You know, high center of gravity, up on big wheels, no tires.
1,300 horsepower.
Yeah.
Look,
I like that you moved to 1,300.
Are we claiming?
We just went from 1,000 to 1,300. You heard it from Soupy. I mean, with the nitrous spray, we should be at 1,300.
Yeah.
We should be at 1,000 on just the blower.
Let's focus on getting it running.
Okay, so today we figure out a roll bar that's removable that we can maybe get out of the vehicle in one piece.
Yes.
Using the fact that there is no B pillar.
We're gonna let these guys handle the cage, and then we're gonna go and do the steering.
Yo, I just want to point out this weird moment we're at Hoonigan, where Hurt and I are the ones who are the trusted members of the group to build safety items for vehicles. Good work, Hurt.
Wait a minute. And they just started welding.
Yeah, it's fine.
does this have a steering box?
Yeah, it's called a steering box. It's not a rack and pinion. Did you ever drive this thing?
No, I haven't got
Let's just say that steering is more of a suggestion box.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
It was
Like maybe a week from now, someone pulls it out and is like, oh, let's go left.
Yeah. So we have all new steering. We have new linkages, new box. Obviously, you know we have a new column. So everything's nice, new, tight. I'm gonna go grab it when it's in here. So we got the new steering box from eBay Motors. And wrong tool.
It's definitely illegal in like 50 different states.
new.
I only see 3 bolts here, 4 bolts here.
We only use 3. The 4th one's optional.
I don't know about you, I feel like I'd be a little more comfortable putting a 4th bolt in.
We have hurt at Scotto building a cage. 3 bolts is enough.
There's an arm that comes off of that connects to the steering linkage.
Hitman arm.
Moves back and forth. I only know this because we reversed the one on the Jeep for Scumbag Labs. We reversed the pitman arm to do backward steering.
How did that turn out?
It's terrible. Conduit steering rack.
My process is pretty simple. It's the same as a lot of people do, but basically you just measure out everything you have, height, width, and you just draw a box. Draw a box on the ground. It's pretty simple, so I'll just use the width. Right here is 62, and then we'll use height, which I'm gonna go from this point here, roughly 41 inches. So from here, I'll have the first bend about here, straight across. So this is where my first bend will be. And then this right here is the width of the roof, 42 inches. The width I have inside of the roof, where I want that to land. That's the highest point. 42 inches, then I want my bend to be no further than this point, and no further than this point. So you basically kind of draw on the line here. So this will be your main hoop. But it all has to stay within that box. This outside line being as tight as it can be.
What the hell is that? I've never seen that done.
It is because you're stupid. Yeah.
How do you do it? We're trying to figure out how there's so many like.
We have like 60 different ball joints up here. No idea what to do with them all.
This is when you realize that you shouldn't throw out the old parts before you get the new parts. Because you could just take the old parts, lay them on the floor, and go, I got the wrong part.
The problem we got is, you see, these are like a ball joint, like a tapered mount. And this is tapered itself, but the taper is on the backside. So right now, if you try and put it in like this, it just won't go in because the taper ends right here.
All right, so I just found something which is like part of urban legend in cars, right? You always hear people say there's like 3 known VIN numbers on a car, right? There's the dash, there's usually the firewall, sometimes the engine. But then there's always this like urban legend that manufacturers actually hide VIN numbers in cars. So if a car gets stolen and you VIN job it, they can find them. Well, I just found a VIN number for this car hidden underneath the seam sealer. So I just removed, this is all seam sealer, and there was actually a VIN hidden underneath the seam sealer. So if you stole this car and did a VIN job on it, you might not know that that was there. And someone else who does could check it to see if the car is actually stolen or not.
I got more Holley bits. This is the water pump. Super simple. 4 bolts, gasket. And then it's got to measure up from the snout to the V-groove belt, give vintage air all these dimensions here so they get us the proper accessory drive kit. I remember the days, I didn't know anything about Donk, and all I was gonna remember is Scotto used to show up to the shop with Tony Harmon. And those two, well, Scotto, wore the baggiest goddamn pants I've ever seen in my life. He looked like MC Hammer, but taller. You ever see MC Hammer with the pants? That was Scotto. He probably told me a bunch of stories, but
none of them stuck.
It was Scotto. Like, you would listen to him, just nod your head, and just keep working, you know? Just like, yeah, man, cool, yeah, really, wow. And 7 hours later, he'd be done and he'd walk out. And you didn't hear a single thing he said. That was Scotto.
Should I just make a new one? Yeah, okay. Yeah, what time is it?
4:36.
I got a call. I didn't realize when you said I had a call at 4:30, it was 4:30. Like it was already 4:30.
Yeah.
He just stole my homework.
Did
He just stole my template.
So what you're saying is if you were to take a test and you got a B, but he copied your homework and got an A.
He didn't do any of the concept. He did 0 of the concept. I just overcut at the end. Fuck all of you. No one gets paid this month.
Or is the floor crooked? No, man. All correct.
I mean, that's pretty much it for the steering because we're waiting on other parts. So we're not going to cinch these down because we got new knuckles. Nothing to cinch down here because we need one more arm. And that's that. That's our steering.
Good? Yeah, perfect. So you have to account we're gonna put 1/8" plate here and a headliner. So it's pretty money.
Yo, Dan, I got an idea. What if instead of putting captured bolts on the backside of this, we just drill holes through here and through the frame and literally bolt it to the frame? Because the frame sits in this rail. I would still obviously do captures here and here, but then just drill these holes. For now, just drill a hole through, and then once we put it back on the frame, rerun them and then run an access hole below it. Because the frame sits in that well right there. So that way you can literally bolt the roll cage to the frame.
Yeah, but the frame is mounted on a rubber bushing. So we shoot that, you just kind of like solid mounted the body.
There's that point. The thing is what would you put in between it?
You would have to either put a piece like Delrin or something.
But I don't know if having a roll cage sitting on Delrin versus just sitting on straight from metal. By the way, we're gonna cut back to this when this thing rolls. And it's upside down and everyone's like, well, technically he should be okay.
This crunchy right here is old ass foam.
That's what I'm saying.
These nuggets right here.
Yeah, I feel like these nuggets are like
these nuggets.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't we
let's do it right now. Let's do an incision.
Let me finish the plate and then just cut the stitches and just pull it.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna have bets?
What are the bets? What are the bets?
Wait! Yo, this guy.
Oh my god.
Just rusty pile of shit under here.
But how rusty? All bets are on rust.
Surface rust.
No,
surface rust is my bet.
So. No, I think it's pretty scaly here.
Oh, that's pretty nasty.
Okay. See, he's looking over here.
I didn't see
Peel the whole thing back.
Everyone else can join this bet, but at the end of the day, this is the super bet.
I say
you think the whole roof is rotted out, but you can see from underneath it's not.
I think the edges are rotted out because the water falls this way.
I'm gonna say this is super flaky.
I think it's like mostly surface rust.
And then the front there is definitely shot.
Like in the front section here. So if it's that bad, fill it with Bondo and landau top it again.
The landau top. What is it? Where did it come from? And what do those sidebars mean? In the 18th century, the landau was a horse-drawn carriage. It was named after the city it was designed and built in, Landau, Germany. What was unique about it is it had a retractable top in the front and the rear, and when they were both closed, it made a perfect cube. On the exterior of the tops, there's this S shape. It's actually a mechanism to hold the tops in place, and those are called the landau bars. The landau was widely popular through England and was a symbol of class and elegance. By the 1920s, the landau style top was incorporated in automobiles. And with all trends, it didn't last long, and by the 30s, it was pretty much gone. By the late 50s, even into the 70s, the landau top as we know it today started to appear on automobiles again. So what is that? So it's a steel roof that's covered in leather, cloth, or vinyl. And it may or may not include the landau sidebars on the C-pillar. Perfect example of that would be the 1967 Ford Thunderbird. It has the landau sidebar on the C-pillar, and that's a pretty good example of it. So there you go. There's the brief history of the landau top.
Oh God.
I told you! Oh, crunchy!
Put it back down.
Yeah, that's
Oh yeah!
Like
it's surface
of the moon. Still not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So my question is why do we want the bar so far back versus
the back of the seat?
Putting it right dead? I mean, this is where we originally had it.
Where's the seat?
Maybe we need to put the front seats in just to see where we sit. No pun intended.
Well, I mean, look.
You want to grab a ratchet strap so we can suck this thing in? And before we burn these in, we may as well know we're in the right place.
Just like that. That's fine. Leave it right here.
I'm down with that. Just feel like you know Kirby games there's no discount.
So that's all the way back. Yeah.
So how are we gonna fix this, right? Best possible option right now is to put a rust converter on it and put a carbon fiber cap on. So we're gonna have somebody make a cap all the way up to here, carbon roof. I knew this was gonna be a problem from day one. When we first saw this thing, I was like, man, that roof is gonna look like drippy dog shit. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Like the front of here, I thought the whole front would be rotted away. It's not as bad as I thought, but it's bad enough. It's like, it's not salvageable.
Why wouldn't the bond option be okay? Is it just because it's Ripley or because
it's gonna be
heavy?
Ripley? To do such a large flat panel like this, it's gonna be Ripley. Even if you get it straight the first shot, over time, it's just gonna shrink. And the more it shrinks, it's just gonna keep rippling and rippling and rippling.
So carbon fiber.
So carbon fiber is the way. Because carbon fiber, we can make a cap, put the rust converter on it, and then we put like a skim coat of epoxy, like a panel adhesive epoxy, and just stick it right on. And then we clear coat over that, it's gonna look great. Yeah. Carbon Donk. Who's got a carbon Donk? Nobody. We do.
Smile on your face, Soupy. You got a smile on your face, man.